I feel like we're at the beginning of like a Slim Shady song. Guess who's back?
Back again.
Joey's back.
Tell a friend.
There you go. See, he knows. You're watching the Vasco Speed and Performance YouTube channel. So Joey's back in town, and we are going to be working on the beater bomb. So
Really?
well, yeah.
Wow.
That's what happens when you come into town, because you sure ain't coming into town to help me with my car.
Oh, whoa. Whose wheels are over there?
How is that helping me with my car? That's sticking your nice stuff on my piece of crap.
Well, that's helping.
Well, let's show them what we're getting ready to do.
All right.
So this is kind of what we're dealing with. We have both of the struts.
Viking struts.
So these are Viking.
Factory style.
Okay.
So it's not the ball joint ain't coming out the bottom of the strut. So this is a factory style.
Okay. Now, why does that... I want to kind of go into a little bit more detail with some things.
All right.
So why does that matter? Why does it matter that you have a factory style strut rather than what would be like a spindle style strut?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really... It's personal preference. I really like using the Viking brand.
Okay.
It helps my fan base or people, relate because
Right.
your other struts are $5,000 and these are $1,000.
Okay. So yeah, makes sense.
But I really like using them, and they don't have a ball joint spindle.
So what he's meaning by that is basically all of this with this would all be one piece, whereas this is like a factory style Mustang spindle and a factory style Mustang strut, and it bolts on just like a factory car would. Whereas if you were to buy it, it would be all one piece, and this would be kind of cast into it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the difference between the two is where your ball joint comes through. So on a strut style, the ball joint comes in line with the strut, correct?
It's all one piece, yeah,
Right.
straight in line.
So this is lined up with that. So if we were doing this and we wanted to figure out our 10-degree cast or lean back, you could stick it on the housing. But since this isn't in line with the ball joint, we can't do it that way. So the way we have to do it is we have to go off of the steering arm, and we have to put an angle finder on there and get that to 10 degrees.
But it makes it look goofy is what we're getting at. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
So anyways, that was a little bit of explanation of why we're doing what we're doing there. But we have our struts set inwards because, the car is going to be super slammed, so we don't want them to hit the fenders anymore.
Yeah.
So those are actually pulled in more. With them pulled in more, then we had to figure out our lean back. And now that we've got all that figured out, now we can start connecting bars from here to the strut cup, down to there. Right?
But we were over here planing for hours.
Yeah, last night...
I think it kind of looks a little funky because the struts are so far in.
It does, because we moved the struts in to keep the wheels inside of the fender, so it looks like it's super narrow, which it is.
Let me put a tube up there, and
So it just looks very narrow, but it's because we moved everything in.
so we think we're gonna go like this
on the outside of the strut,
and then bend it down to there.
and then just make some tubes come from here to the strut cup, just for visual appearance. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that'll work. Joey went ahead and made these little plastic spacers for these, so that we know we get this at about the ride height. Because
We're leaving some room
Okay.
for adjustment.
Okay.
Is what.
And you don't want this thing to bury out every time you hit a bump or something. So
Right.
that's kind of also the reason we're doing it the way
1
we're doing
inch.
it.
1
Yeah.
inch spacer.
1 inch.
PVC.
There you go.
PVC pipe.
Okay, so we're good there. So Joey's going to work on making some bars that go from each frame rail to frame rail to help tie it together. Joey's all about weight. If it was me, I'd use 1 5/8. Joey says it's too heavy, and he
You
wants
don't
to use
need to. That's
he
the
wants to do
thing.
1 1/4 inch, which is totally
You
fine.
don't need to.
Which is fine. So he's going to make one for the front, and he's going to make one for the steering rack. So he's going to work on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plot out and show you how we bend these bars in Bentech, which if you don't have Bentech, and you want to do cages,
I mean, because a guy like me, you look at this and you're like, it's going to be really complicated to make a bar that goes like this. What angle do you bend this at to have it dive in? Well, the Bentech software does all that for you.
Yeah, I am not good with computers. I'm not good with math, and chromoly is not cheap. And I have learned my lesson with chromoly, and I found Bentech, and it is a game changer. So if you don't have it and you want to learn about it, I'm going to show you some stuff about that and what I've learned. I don't know everything about it, but I'm learning as I go, so I'll show you what I know, and we'll kind of go from there. So what we're doing is we're going to design these bars, and if you don't have Bentech, it makes it really hard, and you screw up a lot of really expensive metal.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure out pretty much the cage where it's at, and where in the center of this tube where this is at is called a pick point. So we know the distance from this to the bottom of the center of that tube. We'll get that. You'll go from each side to side, and we'll design essentially these bars up here in the frame rails that we have. Once we have all that designed, then we can come and measure from here out. So say this is 24 inches. I'm just making out numbers. And then we know that to get close to the strut, we know we got to go in like 8 inches. So you would do 24 inches forward, however many inches up from the center of that, and it comes up with an invisible pick point in this area, and that's how you know where you're going to do your bend. Kind of complicated, so I'll show you some when we do it on the computer, and you'll kind of get a little bit better idea. But the very first time you do it, you're starting in open air, and you just have some points, and it's really kind of confusing. So if you've never used it, having a little bit of visual to go along is kind of helpful. So,
but once we get our invisible car made in the Bentech program, it's super easy to make additional bars.
Yeah, it's super easy to just like go and start seeing where everything's going to be at, and it makes it really nice. So I'm going to set up the time lapse, and we'll show us measuring out some pick points, and then we'll go into the office and show us drawing up some bars. Okay, so I figured I'd do a little bit of in-depth on Bentech. If you don't have Bentech, it's well worth the money, especially if you're planning on doing any chassis work yourself. So it's a pretty simple program once you know how to use it, but if you don't know how, it can kind of be difficult, so kind of have to go through the hard knocks. But basically, you don't need this. Basically, you'll come up with this side of it. I want to say this program's around $300. If you can buy different like templates and stuff. I don't really feel that they're worth it, but I'll show you what a template looks like. So say you wanted to make a main hoop, you would click on this, click OK, and then it'll go and give you have to choose all your dies, and it'll come up with pretty much a main hoop, and then you just start building your main hoop off of all these dimensions. So this is essentially what we need to come up where in the center of this bend, and likewise, and that'll give you your main hoop or whatever you're building. So this tries to make it a little bit simpler when you're doing it yourself, but we're gonna just start from scratch. So just kind of wanted to show you some of the things that Bentech has to offer. They also end up having where you can do make headers and different things like that. So really, really cool program. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by assembly. I'm gonna come in here. And we're going to choose our tubes. So our tubes that majority we're using are 1 5/8". I've already gone in and added these into my library. So I've got 1 5/8 chromoly, 083 wall, and then this is the 5.5 is the radius of my bender for my die for my bender. So now we're going to start off with pick points, and this is your 3-dimensional area. So what I do is this would be, if you're starting off with a cage, that would be the center of your number 1 bar. And so say your number 1 bar is 50 inches wide, you would do 25 inches to the left and 25 inches to the right and pull up a pick point. And then you can build from there. So I am going to show you how we build the bars that we designed on Joey's cage. So Gonna put some measurements in, and then I'll probably just set up a time lapse and then kind of show you the overview of it, because it can be kind of boring at some point. So, okay, so we went ahead and you saw us do the time lapse of drawing all this, and it's cool because you can like look at it in 3D and say, hey, how's this look? Is this gonna look the way I want it to look? Does it do everything we want? And so according to Joey, he says it is. So
it tells you measurements to verify and stuff like that.
Everything, yeah. So now that we have all this done, we have it saved, we know we're going to be trying to make these 2 bars, because those are the only bars we don't have technically. So I labeled this one passenger side and this one's driver's side. So what you do is you come up here to transfer and you go to custom part, and then it's going to show you all these bars. So this bar right here, it'll tell you you need a bar that is 66.8 inches long, okay? And then it says you're going to draw it 26.2, and that's going to be a 37-degree angle. And if you really wanted to, and I'm not good with this, you can actually print out coping things for the end of it, and it'll cope the end of the tubes for you. So
that would be nice. Why can't you figure that out?
Well, we can try.
That is tough.
It is tough, but you have to index your tube and everything. So maybe we'll try to do that. But if you get to this point, you're like, this is just one bend, so it's not really difficult. So your angle is at 0, and your rotation and your bend angle is only 37 degrees. So it's pretty simple. But if you have like an A-pillar bar and you have to like twist it, that's where it gets difficult. So what you can do is you can come over here to part detail and you can click bend order. And then it pops up here with a little video for you. And it shows you in your bender how you're gonna bend it. You can just click play and it just tells you how it goes. But if you had to clock this, it tells you up in here what angle you're clocking it, but this one is a simple bar, so you don't really have to worry about it. But I use this a lot because I'll bend one side and then I'll go to bend the other side and I'll forget to go the opposite direction on something. So it is really helpful for that, and you can actually do it where I believe you can just make it repeat it. Yeah, you can click up here and then it'll just go over and over again. So you can bring the computer out and you can sit there and watch it and show you how to bend the bar. So pretty cool little tool. So I think we're good there. So I'm gonna dig into seeing if we can figure out how to cope these real quick, and then I'll let you know if we figured that out. Okay, so I think I figured this out. So you come in here and you have all this. So this is your tubes. Obviously they're all going together there. So what you do is you click up here under cutting, click cutting. There's where all the tubes are at. So now we're gonna click new cut. And the first tube is the tube you wanna do. So see how it shows you all the tubes? So you click this tube, okay, and it's green. And then you wanna click this tube here and this tube here. So that's where all the tubes intersect, but the green tube is the one you wanna cope. So then once you're there, you click complete, and boom, you got a cope. So if we can get the printer to work, we should just be able to click print, and it should say yes. It should print it. So let's try to print it out. Okay, so when you're gonna do a tube and you want a notch on each side of the tube to be the same, what you do is you line this tube up to another tube, and then you can just tape your Sharpie, and you can just put it like at an angle and then slide it across there, and it should keep it a straight line all the way across. And then
bada bing, bada boom.
Cool trick, huh? Yeah. So now the reason we want a straight line is so that when we go to notch this, we can notch it. We can try to use it as an index to get us to, kind of close where we're at. Or if you're bending it or something like that, it works. So
more how-tos.
How-tos. So yeah. So now we're gonna notch it. And this is an expensive notcher. Not everybody has one of these, but if you have one, it's nice.
Only rich people like Brad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. So this has inch and a quarter. This is 1.5 inches. This is probably 1.25 inches, and this is probably 1 1/8, which I don't do a lot of 1 1/8. And then this is the 1 5/8, and this is the big dog. So since both of these frame rails are 1 5/8, this is going to go between them. So we know that we need this at a 90 degree, and Joey can just sit there. And
now, am I just looking for that line to be straight, or?
Well, if you want to, you can line it up right on this edge of the vise, and it may not be straight up and down. But when you go to do that one, I like to stick another tube in there and put a level on it anyways. So However you want to do it.
That's how I want to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Boom.
And I'm just feeding it gradually.
Yeah.
In and over and in and over.
It's like butter.
That was.
Way better than hole saws, isn't it?
I don't know how many hole saws I've bought for Brad, but...
And they're like $20 a pop.
Yeah, I want to say in the 10 to 20 to 50 range.
Yeah, a lot.
When we were doing the cage.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah, so once you put that in there, now we need to find an 1 5/8 tube. Because that's what this notch is. So this thing should automatically know where the height is at.
Okay.
So
all right.
Now, if you want to offset it, you would move this and move it up, and you can offset your tube. But we're not doing that.
No, we aren't.
So all we're going to do is stick this tube in on the end of it, and then you put a level on it, and then that'll tell you how to twist this tube to get the copes the same.
Good.
So
This is the first time I've used this machine, so back off me.
is that far enough?
Double check we're tight.
It's tight like a toy guy. Okay, we'll let Joey do his thing. Okay, update time. So, we figured out the coping, and I think it's going really well. What do you think? I like it. I think it's neat because you can literally just tape this thing on here, and it kind of gives you an idea. And let me show you how they turned out.
Yeah, I mean, look at this one.
You know, look at that. I mean, I think you could.
I don't have to hear about anybody complaining about gaps.
I think you could fill that gap. Let's look at this one, and like this one here, pretty good all the way around.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
But
so
it'd be a lot harder and a lot more time consuming if you did it by hand.
yeah, it would.
Because that's a complicated one. It's not straight in. It's off to the
Yeah.
side.
And you got to realize that this bar kind of goes at a curve. When we designed it in the program, we designed the bar straight, so we had to cope the inside of it a little bit more on that side. But we've kind of got our. This is a calculated 2x4 here that we have for spacing.
Yeah, we need a little bit thicker spacer. I'm a little worried it's too close.
Okay, so yeah.
And then when we bring that out,
Uh-huh.
this bar is going to drop down some to
Okay.
give us more hood clearance.
Oh, even better. Because we don't like hoods going, or struts going through the hood, do we?
No.
Yeah.
No. You might as well just drive on off a cliff.
Yeah, that's trash. We don't do that. Okay. Well, making progress on the old beater, so we'll update you in a little bit after we get the other bar out. Shoo-wee! Look at this thing.
Shoe buddy.
So Joey's been working on these front bars. We took the time to polish them, and I will say we did the printout coping thing.
Yeah, especially that.
Right back in here.
We already talked about that.
I know, but I just think it's cool. I'm excited.
It worked really good. Be careful, don't push on it. It's not tacked in my precision taping and
yeah. See this is precision
spacer.
Precision taping. Yeah, at its best. So pretty good progress there. Front end's looking pretty good. Got both of those bars. So Joey wants me to tack those. So we brought the old miller over here, do some tacking. Making progress. Starting to look like a race car again.
Yeah. No kidding.
No kidding. Okay.
So then after we tack that, we've got to make
bars go from here to the strut cup to hold the strut cup where we want it. But
we decided doing that route instead of taking this tube straight to here.
Because yeah, we thought about going from here to the end of this and from here to there. However, we know
it looked very,
and to be honest, let's admit it. Hold on. Be honest. The second reason, besides the fact that it might be a little bit difficult, we thought if we screw it up, then we could just make we did say this. This is how we said if we screw it up, we can at least just make new little ones rather than redoing the whole bar. So
yeah, you got to remember this is.
Yeah. Have you seen this shop car back?
Look at the laser on my face. That's dangerous.
Forget the laser. Look at that shop car back there.
Yeah, everybody loves a white Mustang.
It's a Foxbody. Yeah, everybody likes those. Okay. Okay, we'll get back to work now. So as our shop is continuing to grow, we needed another employee. So I wanted to welcome Braden to the shop. So this is Braden. He has a welding background. He worked at another shop here, local Kansas City, another really, really reputable shop. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Braden. How old are you?
25.
So he's 25, so he's a lot younger than I am. Mm-hmm. And he has a welding background, so you went to welding school where?
Manhattan Tech. Yeah.
And then after that, you ended up working at
we built tanks.
Okay.
Aviation vacuum tanks, and eventually I was building fuel tanks.
Okay.
Did that for a long time. Okay. That's where I got good.
Cool.
At welding.
Yeah. Well, he's taught me a lot of things because I don't know them. I'm self-taught when it comes to welding, so I don't know a lot about it. But he's already been messing with the welder, changing some settings. We've been working out some stuff. He's already been making a couple belly pans for us. They're starting to turn out really awesome. He's starting to get aluminum dialed in. So we're going to put him on some exhaust stuff, so you'll get to see some of his work coming up. But I just wanted to take a moment to welcome Braden to the shop. So, Braden, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Let's get to it. Matthew drove in the boost knuckle. So if you don't know what the boost knuckle is, I'm going to show you the boost knuckle. So Matthew has had this car for a while now, actually a truck, but figured I'd take a little bit of time to show you guys his truck because we're a shop that has race cars. Now, I may not race as much as I'd like to, but I got race cars. So let me show you Matthew's truck. You want to introduce the boost knuckle?
This is my 1951 Dodge. I call it the Boost Knuckle or the BK.
BK for Boost Knuckle. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the truck.
The truck, as you see, came out of a field looking this way. And it sits on an S10 chassis now. It's got a turbocharged 4.8 liter.
Oh, okay.
400 turbo in it.
Let's pop the hood and let's see what this thing looks like.
Let's do it.
Okay. So now we got the hood open on this thing, Matthew. This is a 4.8 with a what size turbo?
It's a 7689. It's basically a VS version of the G45 1500.
Okay.
So it's a T4 7689 turbo.
Okay. Oh man, this is cool. Look at that thing. It's got an air filter on it. So this is a street truck, right?
Oh yeah, I drive it a lot.
You drive it to work.
Yeah.
So yeah. That is cool.
That's why it's dusty. As you can tell, it is dusty.
Heck yeah.
I drive it a lot.
Oh, looky here. You got a remote coolant pressure sensor. Do you have coolant pressure issues?
Maybe.
Oh man. So he had the downpipe coming through here, which is pretty cool. And then it's just really annoyingly loud. So he ended up changing his mind and he ended up coming out down the side down there. So he's got 4-inch exhaust that comes down and it switches to aluminum and it comes out there. So he's working on getting a muffler for it to make it a little bit more enjoyable to drive. But definitely a cool truck. It's always cool because I envy Matthew. He drives his hot rods way more than I do. But yeah, just part of it. So But cool build, man. Okay, so we got Justin's Mustang here. We are going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff to this car. Turbo kit. We're going to be working on the rear end. We're going to be working on, you know, shock bars, things like that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the rear end out of this thing. Once we get the rear end out of this thing, we're going to cut all the brackets off of it, and then we're going to go and clean up the frame rails and get rid of the square tubing that we discussed in the previous episode. So let's get to cutting some stuff off this thing. So we got Justin's car up in the air, and we are going to address the back of this. So we are going to end up cutting this square tubing out. It's going bye-bye. Cutting this square tubing out. It's going bye-bye. These are Viking long travel shocks, and you'll notice that if you look at it from this angle, you can see how they're angled like this. Also, if you look at them from this angle, they're angled like this. It'll probably work, but you get pretty close over here with your spring. So ideally, this bracket here needs to be moved over parallel with these. We don't know if we're going to end up using these mounting tabs anyways, so we're definitely going to move it over. So that's why we went ahead and we're going to get rid of all the brackets on this and put all Marty Marilat stuff on there. Another issue, the anti-roll bar on a Mustang is put here. Well, you put it up into this tight corner, well, it hits the spring, so you can't even use it. So we're going to cut this out. We're going to clean all the brackets off and put all new brackets on the rear end, and refigure out where we're going to put all the shocks and stuff on this thing. So first thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to pull this rear end out, all the stuff off of it, and then we will eventually start cutting out this anti-roll bar and preparing for the new stuff. So Matthew's over here dancing, so let's get to it. Okay, so we got Justin's rear end out. We are going to cut all these brackets off, and I've got this pretty cool end for my plasma cutter that you can lay it flat and cut brackets off. So we're going to clean all the brackets off this, and then clean the axle tubes up, and then get it prepared for going ahead and putting the brackets on it. So let's get to it. Fire extinguishers are required, especially when I'm around. I was in the open area and I thought we were doing good, but the trash can apparently had something in that was flammable, so we found out. I literally just turned off. That would have been a good one to get on camera because it was kaboom!
Yeah.
Literally yesterday, what did I say? Or was it 2 days ago?
What'd you do, Brad?
I said, Matthew, we should do a fire drill so we know where all the fire extinguishers are. And I ran right past that one, ran over that one. But yeah.
There's one on the bench. I was hoping he got that on camera.
There was something here that was flammable because some sparks went in there. And he just goes, boom! I was like, whoa, what was that?
It was loud.
Yeah. Good news is, we don't have to buy a trash bag.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I thought you fell inside the car.
I thought the acetone jar went out.
That would have been scary. No, I legit thought you fell inside the car. Well, at least we know the fire extinguishers work.
They do work. They did a good job. And at least it was in the trash can, where it wasn't like, you know what I mean? If it wasn't,
Yeah.
At least it was contained,
Until it melts the trash can.
Okay, we are back on Mike's Mustang, and we are putting the inner roll bar in. So last episode you saw us go ahead and move the shock bar, get that taken care of. Now that that's done, we are going to work on installing this TRZ builder kit inner roll bar. I love this inner roll bar. It's probably one of my favorite ones that we do. You can get it in a 6-inch arm or a 5-inch arm. These are 6-inch arms. So I came up with a different plan. It came with these brackets to mount it to the axle, but we have a 9-inch and we have braces on it, so we're not going to end up using those. But these mount onto those right here. So since we're not using that, I designed these little plates, and they will bolt onto here, and this will weld to the rear end. So let's go over to the car and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so originally I was going to mount the inner roll bar up here and then go to the rear end, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to have it mounted down here, and then the arms will come out 6 inches and go straight up to the shock bar. So we're going to work on getting this at the correct angle so that it's about the 6 inches, and here I go from there. Okay, so Braden and I have made some progress on this. We've been kind of going over trying to figure out what we're going to do, and we changed our minds several times. But for the anti-roll bar, I was going to mount it up here and then go down, but then we would have to mount the links to here, so the arms would be up here. I just didn't really like the way it looked. So this is what we came up with. So we designed little brackets to mount the inner roll bar to the bar that goes underneath the rear end, and then we ran them backwards, and that's how it's going to look. So let's take a look at it from down low. Okay, so we have the car on wheel cribs because anytime you're setting up an anti-roll bar, it's a good idea to try to have this flat. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have enough thread here and up top. The reason is that way you can adjust it, because if you make it all the way short, then you can only go longer, and if you make it all the way long, then you can only go short. So it's a good idea to put those about in the middle. So we've done that. But yeah, I really think this looks awesome how everything's in here, and these bars are actually, they're 0.3, so they're dang near straight up and down, and they're pretty good this way too. So everything looks good on it. Like I said, we got it on wheel cribs, so it's at the correct ride height. So I'm gonna have Braden go ahead and buzz all this stuff in and show us his beautiful welding skills. So let's let him get to work. I wanted to be the first person to say that I don't know everything, and I do read all of your guys' comments. So I had a person subscribe on the channel, and they said, hey, whenever you're welding aluminum, make sure you put a piece of aluminum down, and that will help preventing scratching of your aluminum. Well, I listened. So I found a piece of 1/8-inch aluminum. I put a little bend on it, and we stick this up here, and we're going to give it a whirl. So I appreciate the suggestions, and I just want to let you know I read your comments, so keep them coming. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm going to try and do 2 videos this week because we got a pretty good amount of content on the beater this weekend. So I'm going to try and make 2 videos, and this is just the part of it. So you'll get another part of the beater bomb and some other stuff going on in the shop. So who knows? We may have a regular of 2 videos a week. We're going to try. We're going to see what we can do. Puts a lot of work on my wife, but we'll do our best. So that being said, I appreciate everybody coming by the channel. If you don't already subscribe, make sure you click that subscribe button and let us know in the comments what you think about the beater. Are you disappointed that we didn't go with the Coyote? Because I am, but I still think the LS would be pretty cool. So let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one.